Hello, I'm Mark, and as you know, these videos are my thoughts, my views, my opinions, and they're based on my observations of people and how they behave. There's a certain irony to this video though, because I was asked to do this video because someone said, can you do something about decision making? Okay, no problem. So I thought, this is my 9th attempt of doing the video on decision making. So those of you who enjoy irony, I couldn't decide how to approach it. I've scrapped 8 previous attempts because I couldn't decide if that's what I wanted them to be. And it got me thinking, decision making is an enormous subject. And what makes it so complex is that we as humans make thousands and thousands of decisions every single day. And we make different decisions in different circumstances, for different subjects, maybe for different reasons. And what makes decision making so complex is the pure variety of decisions we have to make and the ways in which we choose to make them. So I've tried to find a simple way of at least getting us starting to think about decisions. So I suppose the easiest way to approach it is to be reflective. So as an individual, at the end of each day, just take a step back and have a think about all the decisions that you have made during that day, no matter how trivial they were. And ask yourself to think about, okay, so I made that decision. Why did I decide that? What was going on at the time? What influenced that decision? And what were the consequences of that decision? You know, it may be something as trivial as, did you drink tea or coffee when you started the day? Why did you make those choices? And if you can get in the habit of just spending 5-10 minutes each day thinking about the ways you make decisions, you may start to see patterns, similarities. But I suspect you'll also start to see the vast range of different approaches you can take to making decisions. And this kind of stemmed from me, and this is why I found this so difficult, is I've been taking walks around and just trying to think about my own personal decision-making approach, but also that of people I know. And it got me back to thinking about, well, what sort of decisions do I face each day on a regular basis? So can I start to see any patterns? And there's one thing that I do every single day, and this isn't my decision, by the way, but this is something I do 5-6 times a day at least. I will ask my wife the same question, and I will say, love, do you want a hot drink? And I have noticed that I will get a variety of responses. The 3 most common responses are cup of tea, please, super strong, or cup of coffee, please, or the one I get the most of, which is yes, please. What am I supposed to do with yes, please? And I've realised that if I don't get told tea or coffee, I get yes, please, I'm still faced with a choice. So I will always say, okay, well, which one? And then what I get back from Rachel is very different responses, but I hear her thought processes. So sometimes she will say, yeah, cup of tea, please. I'd love a cup of tea. Okay, easy. Other times it might be, how many cups of coffee have I had today? Just one? Okay, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. It can also be, it's in the morning, first thing. It's always a cup of tea to start the day. Okay. Or, do we have any biscuits? We do. What type? Florentines. Oh, in that case, cup of tea, please, with a chocolate Florentine biscuit. Right. So what I've come to realise is that Rachel is very capable of making a decision, but it can often be a different decision, and it can be impacted by a whole range of factors. What time of day it is, whether there's a biscuit available, has she had one of those particular hot drinks in that day already? Sometimes she can say, cup of tea, please. I'll go to the kitchen, right, tea bags. Right, I'll have a coffee then. So sometimes it's an enforced decision. But the thing is, if we try and recognise in people the ways that they make decisions, and we try and understand what's behind those decisions, we've got a far better chance of communicating with each other and understanding each other. And I often find that when a team asks me to help them with a communication issue, it's not the actual communication that's the problem. It's the understanding and communication of decisions, choices that have been made. So if you are seriously curious about decision making, and you're curious about it from your own perspective, then I suggest the daily decisive diary. Every day, 10 minutes, think about your decisions. Write them down. What did you do? Why did I make those choices? What were the consequences? And maybe you'll start to see factors that are reoccurring in yourself. Do you take a very objective criteria, for example? Do you always look for the evidence, for the information, for the fact? Do you rationalise it? Or do you take a very subjective approach? You just do the things you like or dislike and not do. But then I'm going to ask you to do something that's a bit more challenging. I'm going to ask you to come up with 3 questions that you are going to start asking people around you. And you're going to start asking them those questions because you want to start gaining an understanding as to how they come to make decisions. Now, I've got a range of questions I like to ask, but I'm going to give you 3 to start off with. And the first one is quite simply, just ask someone, tea or coffee? What would you choose? Now, if you're with them, get prepared. You may end up making a lot of teas and coffees for people, right? But just ask them, tea or coffee? Wait for the response. Listen to the response. And when you've got it back, ask the question that's most important and go, why? Why do you choose tea and why did you choose coffee? Or why did you say neither? Understand the rationale, their thinking behind it, and just ask lots of people, tea or coffee, what would you choose? Nice, harmless, simple question. Then, if you can, at some point, ask these same people a different question. Ask them, if you could choose a car, what would you choose? Hear the responses, hear the replies. And then the important question, why would you choose that car? What is it that made you make that decision? And again, listen to the factors that they applied to that choice. And the third one is designed just to ramp it up a little bit, just to dip a little deeper into people's choices and preferences. And I would ask them, if they were going to do something for charity, to raise money for charity, which charity would they choose? Now, what you're looking for then, again, is their response, but ask them, why did they choose that? Because it's the rationale, it's their thinking, it's their approach that's important. And over time of you asking these 3 questions, and more importantly, you ask those same people at some point those 3 questions, try and understand, was there a similarity in their approach? Or did you spot a difference, say, with the 3rd question? Were they quite logical and objective with the first 2 answers, but when you talked about the charities, they became very subjective and emotive about it? And what's so important is, particularly if you work within teams, within an organisation where there's a lot of people you come into contact with, or even in large family groups, understanding the variety of responses to how we make decisions is crucial to helping us communicate how we make our decisions to others, so that they buy into them, so that they have an opportunity to challenge them, to understand them. So I hope that helps. And I hope you understand just how difficult it was for me to make the decision to do this video and to talk about it in a way where I'm trying not to go too deep. Thank you for your time and your patience. I wish you all the best with this little challenge around decision making. And if you can leave me comments or do want to send me any more questions, feel free. Have a great day and see you soon.